Well, it's Richard Thelen, but I go by Dick, Thelen, and I was born in Lansing, Michigan, on March 14th, 1927. And I lived in Lansing all my life, right to this day. Well, I was going to school like any kid does, and for example, at 14 years old, I acquired a paper route. And I peddled papers for about 3 years. Then my brother took over on the route. Well, I peddled when the Pearl Harbor strike. I was only 14 years old and peddling papers. A lot of people think I should know about the battle sides. Well, all I know is what I read. And that's part of growing up. My dad worked, they call it Lance Action Fuel for years. Then through a friend of his, he got a job in General Motors in 1940, just before the war started. And that's why he retired from General Motors. And my mother, she raised a family, and she got a friend. There was a grocery store right around the corner, and she worked there part-time, but mostly work at home. Well, I got a job at some little over on Pennsylvania. They made hot water heaters. I can't tell you what the pay was, but it was a kind of a semi-line deal on the hot water heaters. It was, I think, oil heaters, if I remember right. But after I come out of the Navy, of course, they go on board that far. It's a different ballgame. But before, it was mostly just a paper route.
You don't remember how much you made per week?
Okay. Back when I started helping on the paper route, it was 15 cents a week. Every delivery boy would get 1 nickel. When I got the route, it went from 15 to 21. Everybody gets 7 cents. Then it went to 24 cents. Then we get 8 cents. It wasn't bad for me because I really didn't know what the Depression was. In other words, we simplified food eating and different things, electricity, so you couldn't buy no car, tires, and a lot of things in ration, like sugar, gasoline, and different clothing, different things in ration. We know the war's going on between, in the wartime, I was a Boy Scout, and we went around collecting aluminum, different things, and papers for the war memorial, or for the war effort, put it that way. And we had a tough time, but at that age, I really didn't understand what was going on. In other words, I can remember the Depression real well, but I didn't know what it was. Or I never heard that name put that way. Well, we get together at parks and we play ball, a lot of us. And wintertime, we go a lot of ice skating. They'd flood different parks for ice skating years ago. And in other words, we didn't have no television or no radio to speak. We entertained ourselves. Of course, we had the paper out. That keeps you pretty busy. And I was in Boy Scouts when I was a kid. And I worked on scouting years ago when my boys were in Boy Scouts. So I carried it on years after that. We had a radio, didn't have no radio in the car. So we got home about 6 o'clock Sunday night like we normally do. My dad gave me some money. Go up the corner grocery store right around the corner drugstore and buy some ice cream for the family, which I did. I went into that store and there was some people in there, they were talking about we're at war. And we're at war. What happened? So I listened. And then I went home and told Dad about it. Then he turned the house radio on. Then he got in other words, about the war started. See? So that's how we found out.
Do you remember, or did you hear Franklin Roosevelt's famous speech?
Yes. What I thought of it, it was real. Even at 14 years old, it was touching. In other words, what we're at war. Where's Pearl Harbor? Where's Japan? Well, we didn't know nothing. What's it all about? As the things went along, and you got a little older, to understand all the situation, then I started getting educated myself. See? And before I went in, there was friends of mine and a few relations. They were going into the war, you know, and Dad and Mother said, well, pretty quick, Dad, you're going to be of age too. It's coming. The war won't be over. And they agreed. I agreed with them, and that's what happened. That's what, you know. Sooner or later, I had to go to war. People bought war bonds. They flew flags. They put, well, I can show you in the other room, a star in the window. In other words, your person had somebody in service at your house. I can show you, I got mine in the other room. And, oh, yeah, and of course, it was in the paper. I read along. And it wasn't in television because we didn't have no television back then. So, why I realized the war was going on, kitty corner across the street, her name was Bangry. This man was in the B-29, I think. Oh, no, B-17. When he flying over Germany, they lost all these planes. He was shot down and missing in 1942. That was the first part of the war. So it struck home. His name was Harry Bangry. I remember like it was yesterday. I was younger than he was naturally, but I knew him. That's where it kind of struck home because somebody you know real well aren't coming back. See, that was the first one. I was only 14 years old when it started, and as the days went along, our friends of Dad, mothers, or distant relations, or somebody local in town with the paper was killed by the war. In other words, it was striking home. But that's it. And as you grow older, and the war continued on, then I come to draft age in 1944.